Welcome, one and all, to WAM! This week on episode 29, we learn what really makes a fighter tick. We learn what it takes to win. We grind down to the metal of a man because we're watching Metal Men in real steel!
Did you say you're gonna grind a man?
Grinding down to the metal of men. No.
That made it sound worse.
No.
Welcome to WAM. We
You got it.
Yeah, we watched Wheel Steel. We watched Real Steel for episode 29. This is, a standard, I guess one of the standard sci-fi movies where it's like made for a general audience and it's a lot of fun. And it has surprisingly a large, not a large cast, but I know that guy kind of cast ensemble. It has directed by Sean Levy, composed by Danny Elfman. Really fun little adventure this is. Before we get into the whole thing of the plot and elements we had, there was a crap ton of robots that we saw on screen. Did any of them stick out to you? Which one was your favorite?
Overall, I really like Adam, but I think the Twin Towers two-head robot might be my favorite.
Okay, it's called Twin Cities. It's not called Twin Towers.
Really?
Why would they name a robot Twin Towers on the 10th anniversary of 9/11?
Well, I'm gonna be real, I really thought it was Twin Towers like my whole life. Like ever since I've seen this movie. That blew my mind a little bit, but them.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. Twin Cities was my favorite. I really like how they have the design of the skyscraper on them. The whole time I'm thinking there's absolutely no advantage to having two heads.
No, not at all.
Man, does it look cool.
It looks so sick. So the premise of this movie is that we have this main character, Hugh Jackman, who used to be like this prize fighting boxer. I don't know if he was a heavyweight champion, but he was a really good fighter. Lost his shtick, lost fighting. Human boxing got kind of shuffled out for robot boxing. He became a robot boxer. He had a girlfriend. Girlfriend had a child. He didn't know about child. Girlfriend died years later without him knowing. And now he's stuck with child. And he's also still a really bad robot boxer that's dead broke. So whenever he goes to get child, there's these aunt and uncle that's like, hey, we'll pay you to take him while we go on a little trip, and then we'll pick him up back later at the end. And immediately he's like, what, $75,000?
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
$75,000.
So, yeah, he says $75,000, and the uncle's like, well, for that much money, you're going to need for the summer. And he's like, oh, no, you're right, $100,000. And so then that's the point we're at now, where we have Hugh Jackman with this kid he doesn't really care about, just getting paid to basically babysit him over the summer and using that money, immediately turning around and buying another robot to get into a fight to hopefully dig his way out to pay back, pay the mortgage on this gym. Yeah, and a bunch of people he owes money. Yeah.
So he grabs this very impressive robot from Japan. What was his name? Noisy Boy?
Noisy Boy,
really sick design. Love Noisy Boy. He's like, man, this is a really cool robot. It's voice command because the Brazilians love that shit.
Yeah, Brazilians, they love Amazon Alexa.
They take him to Captain America, Anthony Mackie. He says, well, okay, here's how you can get a lot of easy money. And Hugh Jackman, arrogant, I wonder if that's a plot point, goes, we're fighting the main guy. And they go, okay, sure, I guess. And guess what happens to Noisy Boy?
Noisy Boy isn't going to be very noisy anymore. Sadly, they've taken his voice box and like most of his limbs and kind of destroyed his ass. He gets pummeled horribly.
They put his head on a mantle.
They do. Yeah, you're right. He's like, give me $500 for the head.
So immediately, Hugh Jackman's kid just goes, man, you're so stupid. Why did you do that? And Hugh Jackman's like, can you shut up while we go rob a place? So they go to a junkyard, just grabbing anything that could make anything. And and I remember Hugh Jackman's kid is looking over this cliff and he goes, whoa, if anyone fell down this, they'd die. And then he immediately fell down it.
Man, if anyone would go down this cliff, they totally what? Like it would. There was no. You didn't skip a beat at all. Um, and all in this whole scene, like they're going through, and then he falls off the cliff, and then this robot catches him, and it ends up being the arm of a sparring robot that was used in the earlier division of robot boxing just to
Mhm.
train up robots, and it's designed to mimic the fighting style of any human or whoever it's seeing.
Yeah, it's what is it? It's called shadow boxing. It
Mhm.
will identify a person and follow the moves it does, which I imagine is with its eyes. But at
Yeah.
any point in the movie, no matter where it's facing or where you are close to the robot, it just does what that person does. Does it have like a 360 view?
He just knows, I guess. I mean, they put on a little headgear or something like that, so
That
maybe that's it. I don't know.
that could be it, but the headgear that they got was originally from the voice command. So what I'm
Yeah.
thinking is this robot works off vibes.
You know, I think that's really fair. Adam does look like he'd give a total vibe. Yeah, so but one thing I want to bring up with the, shadow boxing thing. So they say it's this really rare like technology, whatever. It's not really
Mhm.
around anymore. And then we see this whole sequence kind of a little bit later where the kid brings him back home, cleans him up, whatever. They're like, it's shit, it's whatever, we'll sell it for parts. And then the kid goes and like runs with it in the alleyway like a goofy goober. Um, so it's just this like 8-year-old child gleefully running in this alleyway with this fucking like 20-ton, like 12-foot robot just made of steel bashing and destroying garbage cans. They're fucking exploding and shit. And he's just, yay, wee, running down the street. And then they get to a point where they're staring at each other. And I really thought, like, okay, so the shadow boxing thing, it just mimics your movement, right?
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say the kid wants to give Adam a fist bump, right?
Yes.
So the kid puts up his arm. He puts his fist out. Adam also puts his fist out. The kid's arm is significantly shorter than Adam's arm. Adam would just fucking deck his ass.
Like he knew to be gentle with it.
He's got to go really slow. He's got to break his arm.
That would be really funny if he went for the fist bump and he just ends up in the ICU.
Just shatters his hand. I think that would have been a good plot point. Yeah.
I mean, there are other moments that are very similar to that. We see a thing where Hugh Jackman is quote unquote training the bot. I don't know what that could possibly mean if it just mimics you. How you're training yourself and you have the
Yeah.
bot attached.
Mhm.
Um,
You're practicing.
or
Come on.
I think it was when they were originally using voice command, he would put in certain inputs with the shadow box so that when he put in a command, it would do what he programmed it to do when it was on shadow mode.
Oh, I think didn't he want to load it up with like other fighting styles or something like that, and then it didn't work.
He originally had that same model when it was Noisy Boy, and then he learned none of them and was just yelling out the names of them, and the kid said, "You dumbass, you're supposed to learn them." And then instead of learning them, he just deleted them all and started over.
Fair.
Yeah. If things are too hard, destroy it.
Just fuck it. One thing I do want to say, actually, now that I've changed my mind from Twin Towers.
Oh, what's your new favorite?
I think that Midas is probably my favorite.
Midas
Midas
goes
is
hard.
really sick.
His finishing move being the golden touch, just
Mhm.
a really, really stellar point. Because let's look at Zeus. There is nothing that connects him to his namesake, except that he's like king over them.
Yeah, he is strong. That's it.
That's it. No lightning,
Mm.
no sleeping with underage women.
Limited.
I missed that part.
It's in the extended cut.
You just see this giant like titanium robot standing over like this fresh into high school girl, like, hey man, hey girl.
No, it's just that scene from Invincible where you'll see the girl walk out of the shower and then Zeus will walk out with a little towel around his waist.
Dude, you stole my girl.
He just
Do not see your girl, only see my girl.
he just starts like winding up his fist. He's like, "All right, man,
I
it's fine, it's chill."
I absolutely love the jackhammer fists
Hmm.
on Zeus. I think
It was a
that's
really cool
so
design.
cool.
So, how do you feel about that whatever goblin like junkie robot then?
You're talking about the robot that is the first one we see Adam fight.
Yeah, the first Adam fight.
Yeah, I have to say he was really fun, but not because he was an exceptionally great fighter. I did like his gimmicks. I liked his stomp foot. I liked how he had just one giant like club of an arm and
Just
the other one was
hammer.
like a
Yeah.
stump.
Hmm.
But my favorite part about him is how dumb he looked at the close up, because there's the one moment where Adam learns how to fight. And like this happens every match. It's how is Adam going to fight this time? But when
Hmm.
he first does it, where the kid actually figures out, oh, this is how I parry him, the robot looks at him so confused, like, huh?
Oh, like it looks like a French bulldog almost, or like an English bulldog.
I think that's
That's
a
what he
fair
looks like.
assessment. It does look like one of those fat dogs.
Yeah, like their face is kind of smushed in, but they're still like smiling, but it looks horrifying. You're like, oh, it's cute, but ew.
Aw, it's dying slowly.
Yeah, exactly. I really enjoyed how he kind of shimmied around the arena. I thought that was
Hmm.
really neat. Overall, I think he wasn't my favorite. Midas is still my favorite, but I just really enjoy the contrast and like the stark difference from the professional world, and then we still get to see that kind of underground, scummy side.
Yeah, that design, it reminded me of something. For a while, I was like, what does this remind me of? Isn't this one of the larger robots that we see Astro Boy fight in the movie?
Perhaps
It's
haven't
very
seen Astro
similar.
Boy, but
Really?
maybe.
Astro Boy is a fun little watch. I watched that. That was the first movie I ever saw where no one was in the theater.
Wow, that's kind of scary. That's ominous. I'd feel like something's gonna happen.
Well, I had to have been super young at the time, like 6 or 7, and it was like a dream come true because me and my brother, we were just running around that theater.
No, yeah, I'm sure it's a playground at that point. But I mean, like now, if I go into a theater and no one else ever shows up, I feel like they bought all the seats out just to like get me in there alone.
Like they're gonna lock the doors and gas is gonna start coming in.
That's what literally it's gonna come out the speakers or something. I'm gonna
Uh,
ask for a closed caption little mirror, and then it's gonna come out of there like a little flower, like a clown flower.
I can't remember the last time I was in a theater, but I remember that I've had some emptier screenings. The one that comes to mind is I think Five Nights at Freddy's, but that's because I had like a 3 p.m. showing on a Wednesday.
For dumb money, there's about 4 people in the theater, I think.
I had that with a full theater.
Damn,
Well, that was because it was an early screening.
that's true.
Like they got in for free.
This is very true. But back to Real Steel.
Yeah.
So then yeah, so we have that first fight with Adam. He starts learning some stuff. They kind of learn how to fight, how to work with them, and then Hugh Jackman and the kid just through all these fights and stuff are just constantly growing closer, constantly having more of a father-son connection kind of. They're riffing off each other. The
Yeah.
kid's a little stubborn ass all the time and like a smart ass. Like I'd smack this kid. Like he's so annoying.
What I think
Um
is really
yeah.
interesting is how he changes. Originally, he goes from being the smarter one of the two, but once we see Adam has like a little juice to him, he immediately becomes his father and starts being the arrogant one. And Hugh Jackman has to be like, "Hey, let's be reasonable here."
Hey, let's think about this a little bit. Let's not drop $50,000 on a bot and just go destroy it, right? Anyway,
Yeah.
what happens next? What
We
was the
get
next
the
point?
montage. Huge
Oh God,
montage of him fighting a ton of bots. He's mostly just doing black market stuff, but there's like a
hmm
huge buzz of him going around. There's this really cool scene where like on the radio they're talking about how people are loving him. They're especially loving this thing that the kid Max does before every match where he does a little like dancing, usually to an Eminem song.
he does a little silly at the beginning. He emotes at the beginning of each
Yeah,
game.
that's the first bot to ever emote.
Oh my God,
Take your hat off, son. That guy's emoting.
show some respect.
um, there's just when they're on the radio. There's this really cute moment where Hugh Jackman and the kid Max are. Hugh Jackman's name in this movie is Charlie.
Hmm.
Charlie and Max. Man,
Yeah.
inspired names.
Hmm.
They're listening to it and they're so excited. They're like, that's Adam. I think their dynamic works really well in this movie at parts. Um, there's like, you know how this kind of movie goes. There's the two people who don't really want to work with each other, and then they get closer, and then there's a falling out, and then they come back, and it's so emotional, then they win. That's like the standard archetype. Every part of this works for this movie, except for the falling out, I think was a little weak, but
Yeah.
that comes up later.
I'd agree on that. It really wasn't the strongest. This movie had a lot of moments where I feel like they knew the characters they wanted Hugh Jackman and the kid to slip into, and so they almost just gave them lines that didn't really fit or didn't really work too much with the characters or just the person. Like the kid being so like snotty and mean and stuff like that when his mom died like a week ago or something. um, it really doesn't come off as genuine at all to me. It kind of
Mm,
took me out of it at the beginning, mainly for a lot of segments like that. But at the end, when they start to connect more, I think after the falling out, I think they have a much better, like relationship on screen.
absolutely. So yeah, we go through a huge montage, and then they have they have this group come up to him after a match and is like, hey pal, hey fella, how would you like to go to Virginia to play in the World Robot Boxing League against not Twin Towers, Twin Cities? And immediately Hugh Jackman's like, well, that's kind of my life dream, so I'll think about it.
Maybe.
He's super excited about it. They go
Mhm.
to the Virgin Stadium for Virgin Airlines. Did you know that this movie has a crap ton of branding over all of it?
There's a lot of branding in this movie. One thing I mentioned to Nolan before we started the podcast is that in the scene when they're first unboxing that first robot, Noisy Boy, they take up this tablet that they use for all the robots to control them. It's like a big Nintendo Switch. Um, and you just see this big HP branding right on the front of it. And like it's not even hidden at all. They're not ashamed of it. It like there's a lot of branding put
Yeah.
through this entire movie, and I really think that they expected this movie to be garbage. Like I don't think they thought this was ever gonna make money. But I mean, it had like 7 out of 10 reviews.
Yeah. I think when you're looking at not cookie cutter movies, but like what's the best way to describe this? A standard blockbuster. Let's put it at that, a standard blockbuster. There's money in box office, but there's a ton of money you can get in branding too. This is stuff we saw with like that live action Power Rangers movie where they had the
Mhm.
main plot circled around, what was it? An IHOP where the main villain is right underneath the local IHOP.
Well, I can't say I've seen the Power Rangers movie, but I'll take your word for it.
I am also working off of what I've heard.
That doesn't sound real. I think you're lying. I think you
I
watched it.
I
I think
would not.
you love Power Rangers. You love it.
I remember one thing about Power Rangers, and it's I was watching one movie and they started skydiving with skateboards on, and I thought that was the coolest shit ever. And that's
Holy
all I
shit.
remember about Power Rangers.
That's so sick. I just remember I thought the Dinomorphs were the coolest.
Oh, the white Dinomorph, the white
The
and
di-
gold Dinomorph.
the dinos were cool, but then I didn't really care until they had the ones with the katanas that were like ninjas, and then they had the silver ninja. He was sick. Anyone that he used his sword on just fucking exploded. It was awesome.
I and have you seen clips? I don't want to go too far off of Real Steel, but have you seen those clips where they have every single Power Ranger show come into like one area? So there's has to be like 100 Power Rangers all together, all fighting like these weird looking alien dudes.
I have not, but do they all explode at the same time?
I think they eventually make like what they all make their their mechas, and then they
Yeah.
make mechas out of those mechas. It's that one plot that or Rick and Morty ends up stealing this plot later, but there ends up just being a dude the size of Galactus that just shoots a beam, and every little weird alien guy just puff.
That sounds hype though. That sounds like it'd be sick.
Yeah, that was the Power Rangers version of Hiroshima.
Man, that's crazy. Do you think the aliens leave like shadowed ashen remains of where they were standing when the bombs went off? Yeah, me too. But so in Real Steel, over one thing I want to kind of touch on is I think Hugh Jackman's performance really isn't that bad. I can see
No.
a lot of Wolverine, through this movie. Obviously, he played the role before this, but
Yeah.
he didn't phone it in for this at all. I think he, brought the same amount of energy that he did to all the other roles in this time.
I think he gave a very good performance in this. This is definitely not his worst performance. That goes to Australia.
Mm.
This is, I think, really good. I really like it. It's not a lot to challenge him, but he does look like a professional boxer at times. His choreography is really well done. There's the money shot. You know what the money shot is during the finale, right? The jump
What?
punch.
Oh, the jump punch. Yeah, that is the money
Oh,
shot. Good.
oh. I'm excited to see where Sean Levy goes with that kind of choreography
Mhm.
because he's now the director of Deadpool 3.
Ooh, that's pretty good. Hugh Jackman's also there.
He is. That's probably how he got the gig.
Maybe. Or he's
Yeah.
just, or he did. Hugh, I loved you in Real Steel. Can we get this guy on Deadpool 3? That was probably it.
Sean Levy was attached to it and he was like, hey, what if we brought. Can I bring Hugh Jackman in this? And then Ryan Reynolds was like, what for Wolverine? And he's like, oh yeah, he did do that. No, I was gonna have him be like an extra.
No, yeah, I just wanted his character from Real Steel to make a cameo. I think
I
the
was
audiences are really been waiting for that.
I wanted you to kill the greatest showman.
The greatest murder.
This is the greatest.
Oh, what happens? What happens?
We finally get to the Virginia fight, and
The Virgin Virginia versus the Chad
yeah,
Carolina.
and right before this match happens, they are taken to the special booth, and in the special booth, they're told, "Hey, for 200 grand, we'll take your robot and we'll have it spar against Zeus." Zeus being this like we talked about him before, but he is a robot that's designed basically like Taskmaster, if you know who that is. He
Mhm.
puts the inputs of another robot's fighting style, learns it, counteracts it using an AI model. So
Yeah.
there's not a lot that the actual. Well, I'm confused because there's always like a tech team monitoring these robots, but at the same time, we're told that they've learned stuff. And if they can counteract measures, then what is there for like the human to do?
I think Zeus specifically, I think is just like, our Lamborghini of robots here. And so that he can do a lot of things on his own, but there's also probably a manual mode they can do.
Yeah, I remember we have the super designer go manual mode when
Yeah.
he got anger.
Hmm.
Um,
But I don't think that goes any lower though, because even the Twin Tower boys they were on a whole computer doing all that.
that is true. They have when they get into the big leagues, there's like a team of 4 people all controlling this one robot, which makes me think like, why was it so hard in Pacific Rim then?
Well, because they got nosebleeds.
Dude, have you seen these nerds? They're also getting nosebleeds.
Um.
So they finally go up against Twin Cities, but beforehand they're given the deal for 200 grand. Hugh Jackman's like, oh, yes. And the kid's like, no. And Hugh Jackman almost strangles him over it, like a little Homer Simpson moment.
It's really close.
The kid's like, it's not for sale. If you excuse me, we're going to go fight. Hugh Jackman's like, ugh, fine.
He's like, dude,
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 we could have a fourth of a house.
you don't understand. It's not fucking 2008 yet. We could have won. We could have survived. You ruined it. You ruined it. In this movie, I like at one point early on, they're like, oh yeah, it's supposed to take place in the future. And they're like, oh yeah, way back in 2014. And it's just really funny.
Yeah.
It just totally dates the movie.
This movie came out in 2011. Why were they
Yeah.
thinking that Gen 2 robot fighters would come 3 years in the future?
Hope. I mean, really, I would love to see a Real Steel movie where it was like a prequel seeing the first robots starting to fight. I think that'd be cool.
I think that would be neat. I think it'd especially be cool if it was maybe focused on maybe the first years of Mimic tools, and maybe like seeing an infighting between boxers switching to Mimic and
Mhm.
leaving wrestling behind, and like just the anger that fans would get and producers and stuff like that.
That would be cool. That'd be so fun. Then we can
Yeah.
see like old robot designs. Those could be so creative and
Yeah.
cool.
Hugh Jackman, I know you listen to this.
Come on, Hugh.
Hugh,
Come on.
I'll take back what I said about Australia.
Hugh, we swear. We'll give you Australia a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, I don't even care that the movie completely ends and then it gets into World War II and there's a completely new set of problems.
Yeah, that's probably what most of the people that served in World War I that were alive for World War II felt. It's probably the same kind of feeling.
And now we'll have world peace.
Yeah. Shit.
Somewhere deep in Austria.
Mm-hmm. But little does he know. Meanwhile,
they end up winning the Twin Cities fight. There's not much to that. What even is the trick for that one? Was there one? He had a special arm.
He like whenever he threw his right hook, his shoulder kind of clicked or something like that. And so, or that might have been Zeus.
No, I think that was Twin Cities.
Or was that Twin Cities? But yeah, so he took advantage of that. But he just noticed one tiny thing that I think the kid pointed out.
Yeah, they end up winning, and at that point, Hugh Jackman's like, you know what? Yeah, that's fine that we didn't sell the robot. And immediately Max takes the mic from the ref and goes, "Hey, bitch that tried to buy my robot. We're going to do some fighting. What? We're going to do some fighting. What? I'm trying to do a Steve Austin impression, but I fucked up already. What?
Yeah. Yeah, so they totally fucking just challenges Zeus to a like title bout. Cause Zeus is the top boy, he's the heavyweight contender, 24 tons. And so now Adam is going to be going up against him. And just for reference, Zeus probably has like about 4 feet on Adam. Like he's a lot taller. He's just a lot bigger in general.
He's a lot
His
bigger.
fist is the size of Adam's head.
To be fair, though, Adam's whole shtick has always been that he's the smaller fighter. He's agile and he's durable. He's never been a hard puncher. That's been his sort of angle to go at. He can take punches and then he'll block them when he can, and you'll find a weak point with how hard they're hitting him.
Mm-hmm. And in the beginning of the movie, they had Hugh Jackman. We kind of heard a little bit about his fighting career, and a lot of it just does mirror how Hugh Jackman is said to have fought. He was really quick. He was light on his feet. He went 12 rounds with this big heavyweight contender and then lost, which was a little bit of foreshadowing.
I think,
and so yeah,
the biggest thing that I think shows the difference between this is that he was taught by his mentor, who's his little girlfriend's dad. He was taught either they fall down or you fall down. It's not over until someone's like officially out. There's no like just waiting the rounds out, and that mirrors this very well up until we continue into the last fight. But before we get to that last fight with Zeus, they get mugged.
Yeah, they get a little robbed.
They get beat up by this dude from Texas who's really angry that he ran off after he won a bull bet. And they get a little bit of hit. The kid gets some good punches to the gut, and then Hugh Jackman's like, shit, maybe I'm not a great father. So he calls back the family from Italy, and it's like, now it's your problem. And the kid goes,
no, please, please, please. I want to be in danger so bad. I don't want to go to Italy, please.
I want to be in danger so bad.
So bad. Dude, this kid's a little shit. He wanted to go to like the dirtiest, darkest like alleyways for robot boxing. He's an idiot. This kid's gonna get stabbed with like a dirty needle.
I think this movie just came out at a time where there was like a safe version of like, there was like this mythologized white ghetto that Eminem brought, where it's like you can be a street kid where there's no danger, only like aesthetic.
Oh, so the Fast and Furious 1 aesthetic.
Yes, you know exactly.
Mm.
But but East Coast, the East
Yeah.
Coast version of that. Um,
That's
that,
fair. I think that's valid.
I think that really was a thing. Wow, I
Yeah,
should
there
write a
were
paper on
definitely a
that.
lot of like we want this like edgy, you won't survive here, snowflake kind of place.
Y-
In every kid's action kind of movie that there was.
Basically, there was just this idea of like
The wrong side of
the
town.
wrong side of town, the urban danger, but it was
Hmm.
never like, it was never like, oh, you're going to get mugged. It was more the idea of like, things are tough. There's like street fights and stuff. It's always like there are rules to it, but there are no rules.
It's always like they're walking down the street and like a guy gets punched out of a bar and like falls outside of the door, you know?
Yeah, like the only danger that can happen is danger you agree to, where everybody's like, "Do you know what you're signing up for?" And you go, "Yeah," and then you get like your ass beat.
Yeah, in this situation, if you stepped into that movie world and you started to fight with anybody, if you're like, "Hey, I really don't want to fight," they would go, "Oh, my bad. I didn't know."
Guys, did we ask for consent?
Hey man, is it okay if I beat your ass? Oh yeah, sure, cool.
So the kid's finally not in danger, and he's so pissed about it.
Angry.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman goes back to his girlfriend's house, and his girlfriend's like, "Man, you're so hot," and he's like, "Man, you're so hot," and then they do like a therapy kiss. That's how I would describe that.
Yeah, they couldn't get it too. They couldn't get it too steamy for the rating.
Yeah,
So I'd say it's a therapy kiss.
it's like, oh, we're so fucked up together, but we're perfect.
Trauma bond.
Yeah, basically, just some Stranger Things shit going on. That's like
Pretty much.
everything that happens in Stranger Things.
Kind of, yeah.
Because
Like
what?
this girl's taken out of a lab, and the first boy she sees, she falls madly in love with. That's a little iffy.
And like, I tried to help you look for your brother, and now like we've destroyed a monster with a baseball bat, so we're trauma bonded, or I helped you find your son, and we went into a dark dimension, and now we're trauma bonded,
Or I jerked you off with my mind powers, and now
or
we're trauma bonded.
or I saw your brother die in front of you, so now we're trauma bonded.
I saw your brother die, so it really fucked me up.
Man, that's wow.
Yeah,
The Duffer Brothers are incredible storytellers.
God, your brother died? I don't know if I can handle that.
Your brother died? That makes me so hot for you.
Oh my God, you're so attractive and sad.
Uh,
You're so attractive and an only child.
so
Okay.
yeah, what trauma kissing made
Mhm.
Hugh Jackman go back to his kid, and he's like, "Hey, one night with you, we're gonna go fight Zeus. Also, I'm sorry for abandoning you as a child."
Sorry for abandoning you as a kid, and also kind of doing it again now. My bad.
And the kid's like, "Yeah, sure, okay, let's go do it."
Yeah, okay, I want to fight robots. That's cool.
Let's be real here. That's every kid's response.
If you were gonna like, hey, you want to go fight big metal robots? They're not gonna be like, no,
You want to go
I don't like
challenge the
Rock'em
king?
Sock'em robots.
This is Rock'em Sock'em. Let's be
Well,
very honest here.
one thing I did want to say is that Zeus's design is very much just a Rock'em Sock'em robot.
But sleek.
It is, but sleek, and even down to the fist. No, I guess they just kind of turn and pop their arms, but I think I think that's what he was designed after, is a Rock'em
Mhm.
Sock'em robot.
I think design makes them, or the designs in this are very inspired.
Mhm.
I'd say that that the Japanese Noisy Boy looks very much like a standard mecha that you'd see outside of or in Japan, and I
Mhm.
think Adam really does look like a sparring challenger, like you would in a actual competition with those little fake thin swords things.
Yeah. So, so let's just we can wrap up the plot at this point.
Yes.
So we have our main boys. We have Adam and Zeus going into the ring to have their final face-off match. Is it Kid that's controlling Adam, or is it Charlie?
It's Charlie, who's Hugh Jackman, on voice control, and they're getting their ass beat, but they aren't going. Well, they're going down, but they keep getting back up.
Mm-hmm.
What they eventually find out is if they're good, if they actually try, they can get some hits in.
Yeah, so they go through this same mode where in all the other fights where the first kind of round they struggle, they get their ass beat a little bit, and then they find this learning curve that they have to get around, and then they abuse that little pocket that they find.
Mm-hmm.
And then Adam will slither into that and win. And this is just like the really classic kind of, underdog going at the title fight. He's gonna win the belt kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
And then Adam gets fucking wrecked and he loses.
Well, that's a mischaracterization.
Is it?
This is how I interpret it. This match is sold as a standard fight for Zeus, and Zeus is known for never having anyone go higher than 2 rounds with him.
Yeah.
Not only did Adam go all the way to the 5th round, which is the final round in this tournament, but he was a clear winner of this 5th round, due to the fact that it tired him out. If he were to keep going for one more round, it would be obvious who the winner would be. Knowing that he was the first person to last a whole round with him, knowing that it was such a tied game, because even when we go to the judges' cards, it's like a point difference, 1 point difference. With that in mind, this is how you would see a Rocky victory, where yes, on paper he lost, but the fact that he got this far is a testament to this robot enough.
When I watched this movie as a kid,
yes,
I really enjoyed the fact that the main character lost at the end of the movie. Like overall, he did lose.
Yeah.
Like I didn't want him to win the title match. And I do agree. I'll change my answer. He didn't get destroyed, but he did definitely get worked.
Yes.
But I think in any case, I don't think Adam would have ever been able to win that fight for the sheer power that Zeus has. But I don't know.
Holy fuck. Look at him.
Holy shit. It's so fucking powerful.
Big Lion.
Oh my god.
We can't talk about Big Lion anymore.
No, we can't.
Nobody look up Big Lion.
Don't.
Yeah, I think obviously just because of how much of a beating he was taking, he couldn't have won. It's incredible how much of a beating he could have taken, though. It's like let's say it this way: if you had your city nuked, but one person got hurt, that's still an overall loss. But god damn.
Yeah, but Jesus Christ, that one guy sucks. What a loser!
Why didn't he get the memo?
For real. But yeah, so they lose the title fight. Zeus still wins, and I mean that's our movie, right? Do we finish there? I mean, Charlie takes the kid, but
yeah, that's really it.
Yeah.
There's this really great shot at the end where you see just Max's huge face, just super happy on the jumbotron. I think that's his best acting performance. God, does he look happy? And that made me feel so nice inside. It's like, oh my god, this like orphaned kid is now with a daddy, and he now like feels good about himself, and he has a good future ahead of him, maybe.
Yeah, I think every character in this movie was played well. I didn't think any individual person was necessarily cheap feeling, or I mean, there were gimmicks, but it was always fit and it always kind of worked with the context of the scene. And I'm just really surprised, I guess, that a movie about just like robot boxing, like as generic as that, had so much time put into like the CGI for all the robots.
Oh yeah.
For I'm sure what is motion capture for what they did. Just the like, I can't imagine just how much work has gone into it, and it looks great. Like you can totally feel the weight of all these robots as they walk around or throw a punch, and you can see the metal plates shifting, and it's completely believable. And there's no point where I'm looking at this being like, oh, that's such a cool future machine. I wonder how that works. Where I look at these robots, and there is a degree of like, all
Realism.
right, I can kind of understand how that could happen. That's cool.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not completely out of the realm of possibility.
One thing I noticed is that this is not entirely CG when we look at the robots. Multiple times they have real props that they replaced during non-moving scenes. And I think they might have even designed these suits practically, made models around that, used rotoscoping and stuff like that to then sense that movement. And I think that's why it feels so real. Not only that, but we've had robotic CGI done for a while thanks to Michael Bay making those dumb fucking movies. He like sacrificed a whole franchise just so that we could get robot CGI down really good.
Oh boy, thanks, Michael. That's really cool, actually. But then that means I have the possibility of owning Noisy Boy also.
I think the head they do have practically. I could have sworn they.
Oh, for sure, they have the head practically.
Oh my gosh. Noisy Boy head up on a wall. Just like, man, that's so cool. Did you get that when you were in Japan or something? No, it's a prop from an okay movie.
I would just know it's a head from a robot boxing ring. Like I would just commit to it. Just act like the movie.
Just act like Real Steel is.
Yeah.
Can I tell a quick like story around that real quick?
You may.
In class today, we were watching a documentary about this like famous New Zealand filmmaker from the early 1900s, and it was incredibly interesting. And it was directed by Peter Jackson, talking about like how he loved this filmmaker. And our professor didn't tell us until the end that it was entirely made up. It showed how like he made his first camera out of like bicycle parts to motorize it. It talked about how he made the first feature-length film with sound, but at the time he filmed it in Chinese, so nobody in New Zealand cared.
That's really funny.
My favorite part is he went to Tahiti to get some special berries that he could use to make film in color. But when he was filming a test screening, he accidentally showed some naked Tahitian women who were just prancing about. So when he brought it back to New Zealand, he was charged with smut. And the best joke in there is that the jury had to watch the film multiple times to make their decision.
Dude, that's your professor's funny as fuck. That's hilarious. So overall, with all that stuff we said about Real Steel, and how are you gonna rate it? How are you feeling?
This is, I think, probably the amalgamation of a standard children's blockbuster that does it very well. This is like we need a summer movie. And this is a very good summer movie. It's very fun. It doesn't take itself too seriously, so there's not really anything to critique too seriously. I think that's a fair thing to say, where like I'll hate a movie more if it tries more. But if it if it gives itself, like, let's say, a standard amount of effort, then I'm like, okay, well, you can't really offend me that much because I know how much thought you put into it. But this is done extremely well for its genre, and I'll put it at probably a 3.5, where it doesn't go into that higher area where I'll put movies I really love. But man, what a fun time.
Yeah, I'm gonna really have to tend to agree for most of it. I'm probably gonna give this movie a 3. Just because I had a lot of fun with this movie. Every time I watch it, I'm never like bored out of my mind. Big shiny robots fighting. It looks good. It sounds good. It's just a really fun movie, and I love Hugh Jackman. And the other girl is the one from Lost, and she's hot. So
she is very hot. There's this shot where like Hugh Jackman is just like the one where he's just looking down at her. It's like, you need to stop doing the thing. He's like, I'm not doing a thing. I'm just like, holy shit, is this appropriate for children? They're about to fuck.
Whoa! Yeah, imagine 10-year-old Nick watching that and then turning on Lost. That's insane. I loved Lost. But all right, so those are gonna be our ratings for Real Steel. After this little ag segment, we'll get into news. Here at WAM, we use this podcast as an artful avenue to blissfully and peacefully vent our fiery, unbridled rage buried deep, deep down And now you can too.
It's now super easy to record a podcast with Zencastr. Log in using your browser and start recording a high-quality podcast right away. Record studio-quality sound and up to 4K video with your guests. Feel a sense of zen knowing Zencastr's multi-layered backups ensure you will always have your recordings in the highest quality, even if the connection is unstable.
If you thought about podcasting before and you realize that you need a lot of different tools and services, those days are over. With Zencastr's all-in-one podcasting platform, you can create your podcast all in one place and distribute to Spotify, Apple, and other major destinations. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use our code WAM and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan.
We want you to have the same easy experiences we do for all our podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story.
The headlines.
That was so fun. Nolan, news?
Okay, so did we talk about Wes Anderson last time?
Perhaps, but run it by me.
Okay, new Wes Anderson film, Dark Espionage, starring Michael Cera.
Ooh, that sounds cool. We didn't talk about that. That sounds sick.
Yeah, I'm excited for what Michael Cera is going to have in the future. I think he's having his second moment. Obviously, that first moment was super bad, but I think now that he's in this new type, I think there's going to be a big thing with him coming back.
Him and Jonah Hill, yeah. Both of them have both kind of transformed themselves a little bit from the roles and the people they kind of just used to be. They're pretty different now.
Yeah. The only thing I know about Jonah Hill right now, though, is he got angry at his swim instructor girlfriend for wearing a bikini to her job. Do you remember hearing about that?
I don't, but what a fucking idiot. That's like going to a welder and being like, dude, why the fuck are you wearing this hood? Stop.
Like he just got angry at like what her job was, but like that's how you met her.
Yeah, that's you're dating a swimsuit model. What did you?
Yeah,
or a swimsuit instructor.
Swimsuit
instructor.
So
it's just
then
to show
you
how to
put on
them
the left strap.
Yeah, it's really complex.
Okay, here's another bit of news. Do you remember the Apple Vision Pro, their VR set?
I do.
They have announced that they're going to make their set compatible with 3D movies.
Okay.
Basically,
I guess.
They're just going to have that layering not done with the blue and with the red and blue vision, but instead done with layering it.
Yeah, I don't care. 3D stuff, its fad has come and gone so many times at this point. They already had PlayStation had those glasses with the PS TV so that you could two people could play on the same screen and neither of them could see the other one.
That was cool.
That's stupid. Yeah, that's cool, but I think this is stupid.
I think that's fine because the whole point is immersion and it's all a gimmick. So if you're going to go gimmick all the way. Avatar Way of Water is going to be on there. So that's probably going to get a decent amount of Avatar fans interested because let's be honest, that's the only franchise that needs to be in 3D anymore.
Well, let's be honest. What fucking franchises are in 3D anymore? Can you name the last 3D movie you saw? Because I really can't.
It was Avatar Way of Water. And before that, it was Doctor Strange 2, thinking it would be the same experience as Doctor Strange 1.
Zam.
It wasn't.
I also don't like 3D because I have glasses, so no, we're good. I don't want to put my glasses on my glasses.
That's a very obvious reason why not to do that. I remember when I had glasses and that sucked.
Right.
Okay, so Robert Downey Jr. and Christopher Nolan have been going on as sort of a media spree ahead of the Oscars.
Mm-hmm.
There's two bits of news that Robert Downey Jr. has said about Christopher Nolan. One, he's gotten really sad that people can recognize him on the street again.
Christopher Nolan?
Yeah, can recognize. He's just angry that people know who he is on the street. He liked being someone who would be famous to film critics, but no one would notice in a grocery store.
Wah. I think I'm too mainstream.
The funniest thing about that is like that was a real phenomenon before where people didn't know who he was. There are famous images out there of Eminem performing to a large crowd. There are famous images out there of like women's marches, and people have made note about how you can see Christopher Nolan in there, just like having like a blank expression on his face, just like he's stuck there for some reason. It's the funniest thing ever.
Christopher Nolan is in a void. He can't escape the only way he can travel is through forms of photography and or video.
He used to be the real Where's Waldo, but now people know Waldo.
Fuck. That's the problem. He's got to change his shirt. He should really stop wearing the white and red stripes. That's like a giveaway.
And then Robert Downey Jr. also said that Christopher Nolan just hates the idea of going to the bathroom.
What?
Like he said he understands that you have to do it, but he just doesn't like entertain it. He says that he only goes to the bathroom twice a day, one at 11 a.m. and one at 6 p.m. and he schedules that, and that's all he allows his body for.
Dude, that's like bad for you. That's like he's gonna get like kidney stones or something. That's not good. Don't hold your pee in, Christopher. Don't do that.
That's so funny where you're just like, I'm beyond this pissing.
I'm beyond pissing. I don't need this anymore. He walks into a bathroom, he sees a urinal, and he just chuckles and then walks back out.
He just goes in to wash his hands because he's got something on his hands. He sees people in the bathroom and he's like, you guys still doing that?
As he's walking out the door, he's walking out the door, it just goes weak as it like closes behind him.
We have another big piece of news. This is gonna be something that has taken years to develop. Alec Baldwin has officially been charged with manslaughter.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. What's gonna happen? Wow. What's gonna happen with that?
Well, he's just been charged. That means it's going to trial. But it was officially found by a grand jury that he is eligible to be charged. The biggest piece of evidence that was played towards that is Alec Baldwin repeatedly had gone, I simply pulled back the barrel. I never shot it. So of course I should have checked the barrel, but I never shot the gun. Therefore, it isn't my responsibility to have looked. A forensic scientist re-examined the gun and made a replica of it after the FBI kind of fucking broke it. And they looked at it and they were thinking, well, could there have been a malfunction where the gun would have gone off without pulling down the trigger? And they realized there couldn't have been. Alec Baldwin had to have pulled down the trigger for that to have gone off. So he has now been deemed to have been eligible to be charged with manslaughter. So he has.
So he's saying that like he went to like cock the gun and it fired?
Yeah. That was his defense.
So, I mean, I'm sure he could have went to cock the gun and then just gripped it a little tighter in order to like have a grip on it and then it went off.
Yeah. He probably did do it. And maybe he was lying or didn't remember.
Yeah, but I don't think he should be jailed. At the end of the day, it wasn't his. He shouldn't have to think about if the gun is loaded or not. It should be in his hand. He should know this is full of blanks, and like that is what he assumed.
The Helena Hutchins case is one of the more interesting, like who's at fault cases in play. The biggest thing that there is the armorer was a secondhand armorer brought in after the original striking team was brought out because they striked for safer conditions. Instead of getting safer conditions, the producers instead took away those people and brought in a new crew. One of the executive producers on this was Alec Baldwin.
Damn.
It's such a like who's at fault here kind of thing.
Yeah.
Everyone involved in usually handling a gun is supposed to have a responsibility of making sure it's safety. That goes to director, that goes to first AD, that goes to armorer, that goes to prop master, that goes to actor. It's a lot of responsibility to just have that. For some reason, there were live rounds on set, and that's going to be the hardest mystery to solve. Whoever put live rounds on set is the one most directly responsible.
Yeah, I don't really. At the end of the day, that it was like there was a team of people where their job was to fully like inspect that gun, and that was their bread and butter, and they just didn't do that. And just fucking poor Alec Baldwin, man. Imagine going through that. like accidentally point blank killing someone. Like that's pretty bad. That's pretty rough.
Yeah. That's why I feel bad for OJ, because he didn't even do it.
I know. He just gets blamed for that all the time. Poor guy.
Yeah. But, you know, at least my dad's free.
At least he's named after Homer.
Can you say that one more time? Sorry, I didn't hear
He's
you.
named after Homer Simpson. Goes dope. You know?
His name was what? OJ Jebediah, and then he's like, "Hey, have you seen the Simpson guy?"
OJ Jehoshaphat. Just watch this. He's like, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
All right, what else we got?
Michael Jackson biopic on the way. The person playing Michael Jackson is his nephew, Jafar Jackson.
Who is naming their kid Jafar?
The Jacksons.
There's no way. You waited 9 months and you looked at your baby boy and said, Jafar.
It's spelled a little bit different. It's Jaafar. Maybe that's pronounced different, but I can't imagine it would be. You know what I mean?
My uncle was Michael Jackson. He only touched me a little bit.
What I'm really thinking is people are saying this because it's dealt with the Michael Jackson family. It's very likely to be a very boring biopic where it doesn't have the usual conflict issue unless it's drugs, and it's always drugs. Let's be honest here. Every musician biopic is, and they were the greatest, and then they did drugs, and then they came back.
I'm not particularly excited for that. I was never a huge Michael Jackson fan. He is good, but he's not my jam.
Yeah, I really like Off the Wall. That's about it.
That's fair. But that's neat, I guess. I'm kind of sick of the musician biopic.
Yeah,
shtick. I'm over that. I was over that when Rocket Man came out.
Rocket Man might have been the best one to do it though.
It's good, yeah, but I was just by then I was over it.
That's real, because Bohemian Rhapsody really left a poor taste in that genre's mouth.
Yeah, it wasn't garbage, but it was just all right.
Yeah, I don't know, people keep dogging on it for the editing. I think Rami Malek didn't give a really good performance in that. He gave a very soulful, and you could tell he put a lot of effort into it. I just didn't get it.
Yeah, he was good. I don't know who else could have been Freddie better.
That's fair.
So it was all right though. But do we have any other news?
You know what? I have a little bit more to splooge on you. Okay, this is a little funny. This has to go to just the continuous season of awards. We just had the Emmys come out. That was fine. Better Call Saul has ended its career not winning a single Emmy.
It's been nominated for like 52 awards or something like that.
It's the most lost show.
It's insane. All time. It's so good.
It was incredible. It really should have won something, especially since we're in this era where we have to think about legacy awards, where it's like this might not have been their greatest performance, but they deserve it so bad. Are you really going to say that when we had 5 seasons of Better Call Saul, incredible with no awards, and you didn't think, oh, you know what, give it to Bob Odenkirk?
Are you really going to
Ray Seahorn?
When you convince people to buy AMC Plus just to watch the last season of Better Call Saul, no one wants to buy AMC Plus, and you did it.
Bob Odenkirk was confirmed dead during his performance, like he was brought back to life after his heart stopped.
It did. And because of the work he did on Nobody and the physical training, he was able to get his heart healthy.
That's so cool. Why doesn't he have an Emmy?
I don't know. Bob Odenkirk puts an insane amount of work. Like there's I watched the special features for that movie Nobody, just kind of the behind the scenes. He trained for 2 years, almost like daily, to fucking get that role, to get like just in shape and like strong enough to be able to do all that. And he did all of the stunts. Like there's no like whatever effects about it. It's all him. It's so cool.
That is cool. I need to watch that. It seems neat. What I've heard though is it's like I've heard the main plot is, doesn't murder feel so good?
A little bit. But only to a degree, because he used to do it.
Okay.
But they're going to be making a second one.
Huh. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so what I was going at with award season is apparently Rob Lowe was texting Robert Downey Jr. saying, "So glad that you won the Golden Globes. You deserved it more than anyone. You gave one of the best speeches ever." He pressed send, and then he saw that he accidentally sent it to Bradley Cooper.
That sucks.
Which it especially sucks specifically because Bradley Cooper's Maestro was specifically made for him to get an Oscar because he believes he deserved it for A Star Is Born.
Yeah.
So like he made this movie knowing this was for the Oscar. It's Oscar bait. Him getting best director, him getting best actor. It just sucks because he did it in like the best year of movies,
yeah.
maybe this millennium. 2014 is pretty tied, but wow.
I don't know. What year did that movie 2012 come out?
2013.
Did it really?
There was a scheduling conflict. Let me look up when did
There's some delays.
When did the 2012 movie come out? It came out in 2009? Fuck.
What?
November 13th, 2009 in Indonesia. Wait, is this the right movie?
I don't know if you're looking at the right.
No, it is the right 2012 because it shows the Himalayas being completely flooded over like the world is ending.
So they were released in Indonesia first?
Indonesia, Mexico, Sweden, Canada, Denmark, China, India, Italy, the Philippines, Turkey, the United States, and Japan. Okay, so apparently they had the same release in all of those countries.
Oh, well, that's good. It was a global phenomenon.
Like the movie. Wow. And then one last piece of news. Good news, bad news. What do you want to hear first?
Give me the bad news. Good news will cheer me up.
Okay. Good news, it stars bad news, it stars Jared Leto.
Oh.
You ready for the good news?
What's the good news?
Tron 3 has started filming.
It stars Jared Leto?
Jared Leto, Evan Peters, otherwise known as the Quicksilver in the Fox movies, Cameron Monaghan, Greta Lee, and Jodie Turner-Smith. But yeah, the main character is Jared Leto.
I don't want Jared Leto to be in the Tron universe.
Well, if he's stuck in the game, he can't hurt us in real life.
Can Jared Leto be in there for like 5 minutes and then he gets turned into little cubes because the light disc hits him? I love Tron Legacy so much. That's really sick that they're starting to make Tron 3. But I don't want Jared Leto. I want the old guy back. Bring him back. He was on set on the Paramount Plus shoot that we did. We never saw him, but he was there.
But he was there, so that means something.
I was in his area. I probably handed water to someone near him.
And maybe they handed water to him.
They could have.
The weird thing about this Tron is they put the 3 in the name, but what letter do you think they replaced with a 3?
Did they the O?
The O.
Tren. I love Tren.
My buddy Tren.
Y'all gotta see this movie Tren. They go into the video game.
Guys, I got a pretty rare gamer tag. It says Tren, but with a 3 instead of an E. What the fuck does Tren mean? Don't worry about it.
It's really unfortunate if they do another movie with an E as the O, though. Then it could be the Tran movies.
That's what's gonna look like for the 4th one. Tran.
We've lost completely what the actually original story of Tron was. They're just like, we have to get to the Tran.
Okay, but let's be honest here. It's very likely this is going to be like a virtual reality kind of version of it.
They're saying Tron 3, so it has to connect to Tron Legacy, or I'm gonna kill myself.
Yeah. If it doesn't, then it's all over.
Because I think Tron Legacy referenced stuff from the original Tron movie.
Yeah.
So it better be a continuation. Daft Punk's not going to be there, so I'm already kind of upset.
Shit, you're right. Man, who would they bring that could bring a unique energy like Daft Punk.
I think they're gonna fumble it.
I think they will fumble it. Skrillex?
I think they'd fumble it if they had him too.
No, I think that is the fumble.
Probably, but isn't he like 40 or something now?
Yeah, that doesn't mean he's wise with age.
You're right. Does he think he still has the same haircut?
Let me look up a recent image of Skrillex. Skrillex 2023.
It's 24.
Yeah, I know, but it's been like less than a month. What? No, he has like a... Dude.
Is he boring?
He has like a LeBron James haircut.
What? I'll look it up.
He has so much swagger.
Oh. He really does, but he looks like a Bond villain.
He does kind of look like a Bond villain. He looks like I guess he's following the trends. He looks like what men imagine women are attracted to.
He looks like what men who like men are attracted to.
He looks like an in-between state between Kratos in God of War 3 and God of War 4.
He's a little fledgling. He's getting there. All right. If you don't have any more news,
Are you waiting for me to say if I have news or not?
do you have any more news?
How long could I hold in a pause before you just give it up?
It was gonna be about 10 seconds.
I have one more piece of news.
Oh my god! Tell me. What is it? Tell me.
That was 10 seconds. You lied to me.
What?
Yeah, no, I don't have any more news.
All right, so since we don't have any more news, this has been the episode. Thank you guys for listening. We listened to Watch Real Steel. It's on Netflix. It's going to be removed about February 14th, I think. But if you want to watch it, it is on there.
Wait,
Thank
there's
you to
no
What?
There's no Valentine's Day Real Steel?
No, you can't anymore. No more Valentine's Day Real Steel for us.
They got him.
I know they fucked it up. Hugh Jackman's crying right now.
It's gonna be another Australia Valentine's Day. Fuck.
God, New Zealand. Damn it. That's the sequel to Australia. This has been Wham.
You've been whammed. Thank you, Zencastr.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Mm.